going, guys? Dude, I spent a lot of time yesterday and the day before shoveling. I shoveled 2 to 3 times, several hours of shoveling yesterday, with, believe me, very long rests. I could not find the strength or the warmth in the studio because it's a basement studio that is crude. That was kind of crudely converted because it was never meant to be lived in, other than it was meant to be like a downstairs kind of den. It was more like a gathering area than it was supposed to ever be a place for me. And it was my room for a long time, and then I finally I took myself upstairs when the master bedroom became available, which I didn't do until well after my grandmother passed, and she had already been in a nursing home for a while, but none of it felt right, and I was dealing with arguments that didn't make sense about things in the home that I'm still dealing with my family. But that's not important anymore. What is important is that I went back to the Talmud. Oh, I can't do this right now. Hey, oh my God, you're calling me now? What are you calling snow removal after? I don't want to. Maybe it's for tomorrow, but I'll call them back. I'm on a long trip, and I'd rather just talk. But I've been going off on my X account and across Facebook and occasionally on Instagram, depending on what I see come across Instagram. Because I live in this rational fucking world that doesn't play by their paradigms. So I am forced to seem like I have flipped on a position that I never really did, where I'm watching all these other people that are flipping on positions and they promised they wouldn't until things happened, right? And so it's all these people that were like, fuck yeah, I voted for this. And I'm like, all right, I'm happy that we're finally deporting bad people, but this attitude is abysmal. And that attitude was there before they shot Charlie Kirk, right? It was already sadistic as it was. But, I just spent my time paying attention to what I could with ICE raid reports, I was getting, plenty of, it's just like, I don't always like Cash Jordan. He's Cash does some good journalism, but also he's got quite the bootlicker apologist mindset, which I despise, right? So I never share his shit, and I will argue in the comments section against his values. But I am not anti-ICE, so I don't get into the anti-ICE of the left. But what I have flipped on, based on learning something, not based on the behavior of my peers, because people are making character judgments. You see the situation as is with people like Good, with people like Pretty, or Pretty, however you want to fucking pronounce the guy's name, and other people. And all they do is say, oh, they were an agitator. Oh, look, she shaved her head because she's a lesbian. And that's irrelevant. That is irrelevant that she is an agitator. You have a First Amendment to agitate. The question is, was she assaulting a federal agent? And was that federal agent actually lawfully supposed to be there? The question is no. That's the first thing. The federal agent was not supposed to be there. All right, I know people, I got family who are ICE agents since the Obama administration, and this shit's been around since the Bush administration. And the immigration stuff of DHS is not directly associated with 9/11 terror, but it had to get wrapped into DHS as a whole because you couldn't get around it on a general national security level. We've always had the immigration deportation standards since the beginning of this country, but we had a very different relationship with our borders and with other nations at that time. And we had a different policy about who we were allowing in, who we were saying could come in, X, Y, and Z. And the right, I had hoped when I saw what had emerged in the American conservative or right-leaning persons in 2016 through. But after 2020, I said there's still a lot of good here at that time, but this ain't right. Trump's failure in defending his election here isn't right. Something's missing. And we've been going through a cognitive decline as we've gone through the vileness of it all. Look, I get it. Biden with the open border policy. And yeah, I get it. That Minnesota is likely harboring some criminal type persons. And I also get it that Minnesota doesn't want to cooperate with at least taking bad element people out. And that's probably, unfortunately, because the bad element person may have a fucking family that's going to go with them. Or colleagues. Right? Because, I mean, if you're aiding and abetting a rapist, this is the whole fucking situation. I would like to see ICE doing an honorable job. For as long as nations exist, one nation will send hostiles to another nation. It's something that fucking happens. Borders need to happen. Someone in charge of protecting your people has to happen. Like, I don't know. I'm a fucking anarchist, but at the same time, if we can't have no government, we have to fucking address the fucking proverbial elephant in the room. No allusion to the Republican Party intended. These people had rights. These people, for whatever reason, if their state says they're a free person because nobody's interested in arresting them, which is why a warrant would exist, meaning someone's interested in your apprehension. And it doesn't matter how much of a fucking agitator you are. I can't think of something more fucking agitating than a fascist presence in your backyard. And that's what ICE is being, a fascist presence under this Border Patrol management, which was the greatest misstep. That's what, because agents typically, they want to keep their mouths shut about a whole lot of things, right? Because it's complicated with the company, and they may be the only fucking, and like these agents that have been, they were just professional, solid people doing their thing, making sure the person being deported, who typically isn't a horrible person, just somebody who needs to be deported, is treated with human dignity if they're being fucking chill and everything the fuck else. We can make all the fucking arguments for anarchy that we want. I want to make arguments for anarchy. But at the same time, we need also an argument that serves the next step, because the next step isn't the end of the fucking system. People are not capable of being without the system yet. And part of our job is not just doing things like correcting what is that isn't going to go away without making things worse, but also preparing people for the time when those things can go away. I'd like to see a future where somehow government doesn't exist and you don't have George Soros open society fucking universe. the conversation needs to evolve. Just because, dude, there's so many fucking souls here that they fucking need the kindergarten. They need the teacher. Like, did you see the movie Soul? You know, a lot of people need a lot of hush coyote. They need a lot of that right now. The babies need to stop fucking crying for 5 fucking minutes and get out of their goddamn baseline personalities. Right? So it has me furious because I would have expected, under all things considered, and what it should have been the easiest thing to do, unless he's intentionally botching it or it's just simply a lie, is go after the fraud of the state first. Nothing to do with immigration. You go after the fraud in the state first, and then when you nail the guy on the immigration-related fraud, you now have larger, rational public support. You are equating the opinion of the entire fucking state on the quote agitators. The First Amendment protected agitators, as long as you don't take it to assault. And I just saw a woman trying to drive away whom ICE has no authority to arrest because they were not under assault. They invented an assault by jumping her fucking van. The Preti guy, he maybe should have more properly fucking understood his relationship to doing critical care in effectively a battlefield with someone who is allegedly sort of your friend, sort of your enemy, because this is a domestic political violence-based issue. You know, but holy shit, people. Holy fucking shit. You know, none of that was he needs to fucking die. Absolutely fucking none of it. You think you needed to kill him because the situation was scaring the fuck out of you? A lanky fucking, you know, like, he doesn't look like a goddamn warrior. He's just a fucking lanky fucking nurse guy. And then and then a fucking like a 5'0" fucking lesbian mother, unarmed. And these people are a huge threat. Like, yeah, you bet I'm gonna fucking take the side of the liberal when the liberal is in the right. You think she's just, you literally said, oh, she deserved to die because she's woke. That's what you're saying. You're saying, you know, because you are woke, you deserve to die. No. If you are a threat, you deserve to die. Like, you know, you've assaulted, you've battered, you've murdered, you've done violent, life-threatening things. Then you actually deserve to die. ICE in Minnesota deserves to die more than Americans and illegal immigrants in Minnesota. If the administration had rapists that they were picking up off the street that day, they would have names. Here's the name of the like, they show you the name and then you research the name and it's just like, no, that actually, you took care of that last year. You're using that as an excuse to keep doing what you're fucking doing now, which is arbitrary. You're not an arbitrary organization. You work with the locals. The whole point of you being there is because they need you. If they don't need you, you don't belong there. And this is why we have an actual Trump-appointed judge. Amazing. Good luck calling him fucking, you know, activist, corrupt judge. Da-da-da-da. That reflects poorly on you, Don. So he doesn't have a fucking argument. You don't have no fucking argument. We begged him to fucking fill those goddamn positions. So he ain't got nothing. You got nothing at all. And, you know, you've got the Border Patrol guy is stepping down. We'll see what his fate ends up being for any serious consequences. But, you know, actually put an ICE, like an ICE type guy in there. Especially one who respects state law, state dignity, and the partial state sovereignty that we all enjoy under. Hey, sorry about that. I don't know exactly when I got cut off there. But I was making a point that you get an ICE person, somebody who handles internal domestic police cooperative action. Justice system cooperative action. ICE in sanctuaries has said, nah, fuck it, we'll run Renegade anyway. Sorry, that's not how this fucking works, man. You know, just like weed is super legal in Connecticut, pretty much super legal in New York now, doesn't mean that the federal government can't handle drug stuff in a state like Alabama, who is less interested in legalizing at this time. I don't want to hear any fucking arguments about art of the deal. If the art of the deal has to be paid in blood, I will have no part of it. I sacrifice my own blood unto myself. I do not sacrifice another person's blood unto an evil organization. No deal is worth it. No deportable immigrant is worth an American life. And I want to hold every sadist who's been cheering this on personally responsible. People just basically let the death of Charlie Kirk give them carte blanche declaration of war on anybody left of center on their idea of Charlie Kirk's values that they agreed with. And they have no idea how Charlie about things by this point. Because Charlie Kirk was acting his mind. I mean, he was taking in Mossad money, and he had the balls to change his mind. The naive fool. But ultimately was finding himself to be a good man, or trying to be, as much as one in his position could have, who was that of a made man, and who did not appreciate what it meant to be a made man in effectively the Jewish mafia. We must stop at the blood sport revenge porn. This is all revenge porn in a blood sport. James True was right. It's Hutzlapote and Tolak and Hutzlapote. I think that's how you pronounce their names. The Mesoamerican gods of war and weather. War and rain, if you will. It all makes perfect fucking sense when you realize it. Down to the fucking color code. Right down to the color code. Fire and water. red and blue. War and prosperity. But you don't get to see so much prosperity on the side that's for prosperity, and you don't see very much good war, good conflict, or good force of will, or whatever, on the other side, right? Because remember, I've said, like, the war gods were not the war gods before there was war. They still existed. So what the fuck were they? They were forces of will. And there was war when a force of will clashes with another force of will. And Ares seems to also be the only god, if you want to talk about Greco-Roman, who fucking fights for the dignity of women. That's in the Greco-Roman mythos, how they handle the conduct of women mistreated and the cause of war. And we see that across the board. We use how we see the men of one country treating the women of another country as a cause for war or a cause of support. For instance, Iran. I support regime change in Iran because, to me, I think it's abysmal the way women are forced as opposed to their free will choice too. Because if Islam was right in how they were treating women, the women would want to be that way. But you can see, obviously, there's threats, there's the fear, there's the coercion, and they'll fucking kill you about this shit. There won't be a civil war, I don't think, because of this. Because the middle of America can't believe that it's being done like this. They can't, they don't, like Trump pulled a hard right move on this. Ugly, bad fucking idea. This situation was an emergency. The people of Minnesota would be calling for it. I have not yet since seeing all these protests, seeing counter-protesters that are like victims, or they know like coming out there saying, "No, please, you gotta let ICE do this. This motherfucker raped the guy, was let out at large, and blah, 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 blah." You're not getting anybody talking about the people they know and love that were harmed by the illegal aliens over there. Where the fuck are they? They are protected to speak. Not just by law, but just by community. By, come to my house and fucking testify in the sanctity of my home. I will give you fucking voice if a Minnesotan fucking raped you and let them fucking go because they're the victim, because they're still from an oppressed country by Americans and white people. Okay? So no, we're not seeing that. We're not seeing that. Maybe that was true 6 months ago before the initial sweep of raids, which may or may not have been a little bit more, quote, on the level. Anyway, thanks so much for tuning in. 50-50 chance I'll do the Talmud tonight. Depends on how long I want to roll here with my excursion a little bit up north. I got to get back to my GPS because my system decided it didn't want to work. I just plugged it back in. I gotta make sure I know where I'm going because I've only been here a couple of times. Yeah, I gotta get going. Anyway, thanks so much. I can see you guys in the chat, and I can't really participate right now, but I see moderators in there, so I'm assuming you're on your best behavior because my mods know what level of your buffoonery I want to see. All right. Thanks, guys. I'll do the Talmud. I should be doing the Talmud tomorrow, if I'm not doing it tonight too. All right. Later.